5 instances of Chinese racism against black people. This video is intended on highlighting instances of racism perpetrated by Chinese people against people of African ancestry. In recent history, we've witnessed an increased Chinese presence in Africa and the Afro-Caribbean, to the point that the Chinese currently controls a majority of our retail industry, a majority of our construction industry, and a majority of our commodities markets. So it can be understood why many people see the Chinese as trying to economically colonize Africa and the Afro-Caribbean, and the death trap associated with the Belt and Road Initiative only reinforces our suspicion of a potential Chinese colonization of Africa and the Caribbean. With this fact in mind, black people must be attentive to the many instances which demonstrate the racist views that Chinese people have of black people. Here are 5 instances where Chinese people were caught being racist against black people. This video would give Marcus Garvey a heart attack, as he must have expected his people to be above the level of accepting abuse from other races by now. Number 1, Chinese Museum compares black people to animals.
About it, I didn't want to say anything. I've seen it like almost a week ago. I didn't want to say anything because I'm tired of people calling me an attention seeker. Not until, how on earth will you be comparing animals with Africans? How on earth will you be comparing black people with animals? Like, this is not right, China. This is not right. For real, look at these pictures. Look at this. Really disgusting. I was sad when I saw this. Really sad. Very, very disrespectful. Very, very disrespectful. And this is the museum that people go in and come out every day. What is the purpose of the museum? The purpose of the museum is to educate and teach people. Is to teach people about the culture, about the history, about the art of a group of people. But is this what you are teaching people? The purpose of the museum is totally different here in China. Look at this. How? Is it what you are teaching your own people? Is it what you are teaching people about African people? Is it what you are teaching people about black people? This is not right. What have you done to deserve this? I just don't get it. This is not the purpose of museum, and this is not Africa. Please, this.
Number 2, Chinese woman slaps Jamaican child after falsely accusing her of stealing a product worth $40.
Alright, don't
Number 3, Chinese man attacks African worker in Sierra Leone.
In Sierra Leone, worker at a mine site in the African nation has yet again been highlighted that the alleged forced labor practices of Chinese government and its subsidiaries. We're taking a closer look at the video and putting down all the details in this report.
This is a video from a mine in Sierra Leone. Watch how this Chinese national, who is the manager of the mine, shouts at a worker and barges towards him. And the moment he attacked the worker gave it back with a kick and a slap. Watch how the scuffle unfolded.
Hey. Leave him, he's on record. Hey. He's on record, leave him.
The enraged Chinese worker then came armed with a stick and barged towards the worker, attacked him, while other workers tried to restrain him. The efforts to contain him were in vain, and the worker was then seen kicking the Chinese manager hard. The Chinese national is reportedly a manager with the China Railway 7th Group Company. The tussle broke out at the Tongkolili mine site after the manager of the Chinese government-owned company forced workers to participate in a training exercise after the workers' scheduled workday. Enraged citizens of the African nation reportedly called for the Chinese manager to be arrested, charged to court, imprisoned, and then kicked out of Sierra Leone after serving his prison term.
Number 4, Chinese commercial depicts black people as being dirty due to the color of their skin.
俏皮洗衣溶珠，俏皮全国招生热线400-800-5086。
Number 5. Chinese people scapegoat black people for the COVID-19 pandemic and deny them access to services and even accommodation.
China denies that there's discrimination against Africans in its country. This after reports of students and businessmen being mistreated prompted African ambassadors to reach out to Beijing. Africans and the African diaspora have become victims of anti-foreigner sentiment in China. Images of black people being refused service in restaurants and access to shopping centres have flooded social media. In the city of Guangzhou, some have even been evicted and forced to sleep on the streets. All of this due to irrational coronavirus fears. A group of African ambassadors warned Beijing of this growing phenomenon. China's foreign ministry has responded, denying that there's discrimination against Africans in the country. For more details, here's our Beijing correspondent, Charles Peligan.
City leaders in China are denying allegations of coronavirus racism, insisting that foreigners are not discriminating against Africans living in Guangzhou, so they're being kicked out of their homes and face harassment as they have to step up testing for reported infections. The leader of Nigeria, Ghana, calling on the Chinese government to take this seriously. Professor Peter Gold is the director of General and Media Studies Center at the University of Hong Kong. He says there has been discrimination.
What else does not help China? Therefore, pictures come out of China. What is happening in China? Racist attacks and xenophobia on the rise. We talked about this before, now it's getting worse, especially just before Guangzhou. It's a hub for the African diaspora in Asia, and they are being targeted in China. They're being called the carriers of the virus. Here's a report.
This notice in English is for African visitors. They are not allowed inside this McDonald's joint in Guangzhou. The African community in China is on the edge. They are being targeted. This video, now shared by several international news outlets, shows an African being dragged away. Photographs are going viral. Several Africans were seen living on the streets. Online rumors spread like wildfire in Guangzhou. They claimed that the coronavirus is spreading among the Africans. This led to their mass evictions from hotels and apartments. Xenophobia, or an anti-foreigner sentiment, is driving hate against the African community in China.
They cannot give us house. They cannot give us hotel. They cannot provide a place we can stay.
Reports say Africans have been subjected to forced testing and quarantine, even when they were showing no symptoms.
So that was 5 instances where some racist people reminded us that the struggle against ignorance is not over.